We are following breaking news out of Thailand at this hour. What everyone has been waiting for. Authorities say that high-risk operation is now underway. They are going to try and pull out that youth football team out of that flooded cave where they have been trapped. Just minutes ago, the local governor called it D-Day. Media and non-essential personnel have been moved from the campsite near that cave entrance. For the latest now, we now go to CNN's David McKenzie, who's been following all of this from northern Thailand. And I cannot imagine how high the stakes are right now, especially for those families who have to hear that, you know, their loved ones are going to be going through one of the most treacherous journeys of anyone's life, really.
Well, that's right. It's a rescue attempt like no other, they call it. And in the mountains past this vehicle behind me, those boys will start this journey out through this cave system. And the governor is calling it D-Day, saying around 40 minutes ago, local time, they started this operation. 13 international divers moving into that Chamber 3 where the underground operations center is based, Paula. From there, it seems like individually or in small groups, those highly specialized divers will move through those narrow chambers and get those boys, most likely one by one, with full face masks. You know, they say the clock is ticking. The rain is already lightly falling, and this means that window will be closing. They said it could fall heavily. The waters could be rushing in and inundating the teams and those boys. So, Paula, they have this limited window. They wouldn't be doing this dangerous rescue if it wasn't the only option they had to get these boys out. Now, I just want our viewers to imagine this. You, between 11 and 16 years old, you've been there for 16 days now in the depths of that cavern. The air is running low. You've been able to communicate, send messages, notes of love and aspiration to your family. And now you have to make this journey, probably manhandled by these specialist divers, at times through gaps as narrow as this. They might have to push the boys through those gaps, not even hold on to them, next to them in those periods. And while this has started, it certainly hasn't finished, Paula. It could take hours from this moment where they pulled the trigger on D-Day here in Thailand for these boys to get out, and hours longer for those parents to know whether their child will make it. Paula?
Just excruciating. And some questions here. Bear with us if we don't have the answers, but David, give it your best shot. You're talking about hours. Is there any sense that they give any indication about whether or not they would be pulling them out one by one and how long that would take, or if they'd be trying to pull them out as a group?
They can't pull them out as a group, just technically speaking. You know, in this mountain behind me, if you can imagine it, there is a cave system that runs almost 2 miles under the ground. Where the boys are sitting in that beach where they've been hunkered down, there's a narrow passageway from there to the command center. They've managed to pull a lot of water out 24/7, pulling that water out, pumping it down those valleys. But if the rain comes, the water could flow back in. You know, it's hard to really talk about this, but you've got these boys. They have to take them one by one, because if something goes wrong and all of them are stacked together, they're trying to get out, it would be catastrophic. Several of the dive specialists I've spoken to in the last few days have said the biggest issue here is making sure those young boys, and remember what they've been going through, don't panic, that they don't pull off their mask or writhe and get stuck and feel that claustrophobia when those walls are closing in with those zero visibility. You know, they're confident that they can manage this. The best teams in the world are here, flown over from the US, the UK, from China, all across the world, military teams joined by recreational divers and specialist British divers who are seen as the best in the world. So, if there is a chance to get these 12 boys and their coach out, this team is the best on the globe to do it. But it's not going to be easy, and we'll have an agonizing wait in the coming hours to see if they can pull this extraordinary rescue off. Crucially, Paula, the governor said that they got the permission from these parents to do this operation. Everyone's on board on this. but the wait will be horrendous. They've closed off that area. They've moved the press away from the mountain. You can totally understand that. They need that privacy. The governor is saying that they've got medical teams at the ready. They've been planning for every possible scenario. The boys will be taken to area hospitals, either by road, possibly by helicopter. The hope is that they can walk out of there, but, you know, they're preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. Paula?
Yeah, so interesting that they went to the parents to try and get some kind of permission. You could imagine how excruciating those conversations were, especially as they were outlining the risks to those boys, as you just did. You know, they described them, the authorities described them as very ready to get out. That had to be the understatement of their lives. And at the same time, have you been discussing with authorities there the fact that, you know, what is their mental and physical shape at this point, beyond the fact that they are, of course, very ready to get out of there?
At least 3 in that cave. One, the coach most likely, and 2 of the boys, according to doctors' assessments, are not in a good physical state. Well, you can imagine that. They've had 9 days without food in the depths of that cave, thinking that their chances of survival were probably 0. And then out of the water popped this British diver who found them against all the odds. That was now some time ago, and there was that euphoria here in Thailand and around the world. Frankly, very few people felt those boys would be alive. They were hunkered down on that beach in that chamber. And from that point, you've seen this buildup of resources, of human ingenuity moving into this area, flying in from all across the world. This is an extraordinary rescue attempt, but you can't forget the predicament of these families. They've sent handwritten notes in Thai on scrap paper. We talked yesterday about the boy, Tun is his nickname, or Titun. He's the youngest, 11 years old. He sent out a message, handwritten, saying, you know, Mom, Dad, I just want to come out. I want to have fried chicken. I want to just eat food. You know, the basic survival necessities are what one starts to think about in these circumstances. The mother wrote back, said she's going to be waiting by the entrance of that cave, that he's the only one for her, that, you know, they'll take him to that fried chicken joint in town. They'll share that meal. So there's this optimism and hope in this community here. But it's going to be hard. This is by no means a sure thing, and I know that everyone assembled here is hoping that they will get out safely. But there's, as I say, this extraordinary journey, dipping down from that cave they're in, being pulled through this sort of V section that at times is like a letterbox almost for these kids to squeeze through. Once they get to that chamber, that 3rd chamber, where the command center underground is, they should be okay. But even if one boy makes it, then there's the wait if the next one, and the next one gets out safely. Paula?
That's what's so excruciating about this. And David, stand by for us for a moment, if you will. I'm heartened to see that the skies above you have not opened up, that there is no downpour yet. And that's why we want to go now to what everyone has been talking about, which is the approach of those monsoon rains. And it is, of course, one of the factors weighing heavily on this rescue effort. Meteorologist Derek Van Dam has the latest on that. And Derek, you know, we have been very lucky. The boys have been very lucky that, you know, it's been an anomaly, but that the skies haven't opened up in the last couple of days. What is the danger now?
Well, what we've been noticing, Paula, is that the satellite that we investigate and kind of break apart here in the CNN Weather Department to disseminate whether or not it's raining within this particular area has seen an influx of moisture, cloud cover. This is what we would expect this time of year. The rainy season begins in July, lasts right through October, and just as we've been warning the past couple of days, cloud cover has lifted in across northern Thailand, into Laos, as well as parts of Myanmar. Here's the Chiang Rai region, and you can just see the influx of cloud cover and moisture. And one thing to take note of as well, just because it's not necessarily raining where David Mackenzie is located, where the boys are located, remember, water seeks its own level, so it could be raining at an adjacent mountaintop, and that water will seep down into the valley valleys, potentially entering the cave system. Not what we want to hear, but that's the reality of this situation. Now, this is the 5-day rainfall forecast total. It has lit up recently from our latest computer models. I've broken it down day by day so to show you exactly what we're expecting. At least through the rest of Sunday, remember it's midday Sunday there, we could get another 8 millimeters of rain. This compared to no rainfall that we've experienced over the past few days, aside from a few showers. But look how it ramps up, Paula, as we head into the middle of the week. So time is of the essence. We all know that. And we are just thinking of these boys and that soccer coach right now.